In the evening, we are finally going to have a game featuring a team who have no possibility of going any further in the tournament. What that will mean for them is a huge ask. But let's start with the team who are still very much in it, and that's Kolkata. Because they had to make a hard choice. They've got Andre Russell injured, Lockie Ferguson perhaps still not yet fit enough to come back, which means they've had to make a hard call with someone like a Tim Seifert getting in there. Was that the call? We are still crying out for Shakib Al Hasan, Joy. Are you seeing Shakib back?
It's a complete no-brainer for me. It has to be Shakib, not just because he's a better batsman or a worse batsman than Tim Seifert, but they need those 4 overs. If you see what happened to Venkatesh Iyer this time, and it was no fault of his at all. He's a young man who's playing very bravely. He's great as an option to give you a couple of overs, and if he goes on well, you give him you give him one more, and you see where it goes. But having an international star like Shakib Al Hasan out there, of course, your other option is for Morgan to drop himself out and just play Shakib for Morgan and then finds one other replacement. That can also work for them. But I don't think they'll do that at this stage in the tournament, dropping their captain. But I think Shakib has to walk into that team, if not for anything else, to give them that proper 5th bowler. And if Shakib comes in, he's not your 5th bowler, he's your 2nd or 3rd bowler. I mean, Shakib, Sunil Narayan and Varun Chakravarti together on that surface is 12 hours of hell for any batsman.
But basically, Shaun, you don't have to be a cricket aficionado or a proper pundit to say that 5 bowlers is a bare minimum. We often talk about who has a 6th and a 7th and gives you an advantage. They didn't even have 5 the last time around. I'm sure McCullum and company will be sitting there saying, listen, that's the first thing we need to fix.
Yeah, it's a tough sell for me. In a coaching role, if I was in that department, particularly having been a bowler and knowing that on certain days you feel like you're going the distance, and it's nice to just have that 6th option. If you've got guys who are 100% bankers, and sometimes you'll get these T20 teams around the world where they've got 5 guys, they know their role, they can stick to them, and they're basically guaranteed that they're going to be able to deliver their 4 overs. Then maybe you can risk it. But going in with 4.5 and hoping that it all goes according to plan is very risky business.
I know, Joe, the other day we did sort of have a discussion on Morgan, but do you realistically think, is it a non-cricketing reason why Owen Morgan can't possibly ask himself to sit out?
I think there are too many complications, because I think there are a lot of complications that arise out of it given the circumstances, because he's really a kind of player. It's just before a big auction. You're suddenly dropping him, you're telling him that perhaps you're not available. Then I think the only reason you can do it is if you have decided that, okay, next year onwards, we're going to go in a fresh new direction. This is not it. And say, you know what, we've already reached here. Even if you did that, you can do it only really if you think you have no chance of qualifying. So if they lose this next match, because whatever is happening right on Morgan's watch. Whether you like it or not, they're 5 and 7 under him. They've made this recovery in the Gulf under him. So, whatever his personal form has been. So you can't walk away from that unless they lose another one, they can't qualify, and then they put in a new captain and they say, okay, let's finish the season, let's look in a fresh new direction.
Well, as far as Hyderabad are concerned, they've given it their best. They had a mathematical chance till their last game, but once that was gone, it's goodbye. Now, are we going to see everybody who hasn't played a game get a game with a few key players still very much in the mix? Someone like a Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, eyes on the national side, he'll want to get in there. But I'm thinking a Mujibur Rahman, I'm thinking Nabi, any of the guys who haven't really got a go. Do you now get Manish Pandey back? Get him to try and get some runs, Joy?
I really don't see Manish Pandey and David Warner coming back, because I don't think the franchise is looking at them as long-term prospects for them anymore. I think they have decided to part ways in that. Definitely, they would be looking at somebody like a Nabi. I think Mujib would also, they'll be looking at Mujib. The only thing that they'll be looking at is saying, we still want to be competitive. They owe it to their fans, to everyone, to put a competitive side up. So they're not just going to pack it for the sake of packing it. I think they'll put up whatever they can. And I see that they've got a little bit of success with what they did last time, the last match. And I think they'll just try and play on that success and try and say that, okay, these are the 2-3 players we've identified. They're giving us something. Let's try and follow them. Let's try and give them more opportunities.
It can't be easy, Shaun, when you're eliminated. Of course, you talk about playing for pride, but in the context of the fact that some players may not be in your plans for next season, you've got to sort of juggle that with the fact that you still need to play as a professional unit.
Yeah, I think you owe it to the tournament, you owe it to the rest of the teams, you owe it to everyone trying to qualify to try and put out your best team. You know, it's a difficult one from a coaching perspective because you do spend a lot of these weeks getting and forming a relationship with young individuals in the team and different players that tend to sit on the bench, and you sort of look across and they're almost looking at you with those puppy dog eyes like, please coach, give me a chance. You know, we're out of the tournament. Any chance I can just get a game? So it is such a difficult situation that they find themselves in. But I think they still do owe it to everyone involved to try and go with the strongest team. Tinker maybe one or two people that you can maybe give a chance and that you actually probably wanted to see anyway in the tournament, rather than just saying, here, you know, here's a cap, go out there and see what you can do. So yeah, it's not a nice situation to be in, but it also is important that those players try and finish with a bit of self-pride.
Yeah, I think that's the key that Shaun and you both said, Joy. It's about picking the players who you think would be able to deliver for you. We've talked about Mujib in the past as a replacement, not just to fill a gap. We've talked about Nabi. He's been there. He's done that for the franchise before. But yet, for someone like a Rashid Khan, impact player, he's never someone who'll want to sit. So he'll be sort of standing out there, probably go out there tonight and be standing there in the middle going, I'm playing already. He's that kind of character.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, that's the point, that you don't just owe it to the players. You owe it to your fans. You owe it to your franchise to say that we're going to put up a good show. You can't just... And the cap for your team cannot be cheap. It must have value. Playing for that franchise can't be easy just because you're not winning. Then anyone can walk in. So that pride must remain. And that's why whoever will play will be a player who they think is capable of really contributing to that first 11. They're not just going to give away that cap randomly. And they won't.
Talking of caps, interesting tweet, Joy, which I responded to. This is the actual matchup. They talk about the orange and the purple. It's orange playing purple tomorrow in the night game. And at one point in time, one was not orange, one was not purple. So maybe what's the solution? I actually tweeted out green and brown, and I was promptly told, no, 2 new franchises coming. Don't take a chance. White is the best color. White and black maybe.
But white is very boring for T20 matches. White is not the color for T20. But yeah, you could go silver or try some sort of variety of that. I don't know, but not white.
Or maybe go the way of Formula One and try and do maybe a checkered cap and a striped cap.
Gautam, I mean, I know you'd love stuff like that. I know you'd like to show them your entire wardrobe, the kind of socks you wear, the kind of ties you wear, for example. Please don't advise them on this issue. Let them choose their own colors. Please, Gautam. Please.
I guess that's one job I'm not getting. Fair enough. I'll stick to this. Okay, just to finish, since we did it for the first game, Shaun, one player to watch out for from tomorrow's game. Orange against purple.
Sure. Well, I'm trying to think. It's all going to be down to who they pick, isn't it?
Exactly.
But I think someone probably to watch out, Jason Roy. I think he's still got a point to prove. He should definitely be playing. He played well in the first game, didn't get any in the second. And, I think it's another opportunity for him just to show people what he's capable of. And he sat on the bench for a long time. So I think he'll be still quietly determined to get them off to a fast start. And in his first innings that he played was brilliant. So I think I'll watch out for him.
Joy?
It's difficult to look beyond. This is the year for Venkatesh Iyer. It's difficult to look beyond him. So yeah, I think I'll just say that, I just want to see how it keeps going. So far, every time you think that, he's going to go off, he's going to cool off, he's just kept playing. And I'm just agog to see whether he can keep this form up, red hot form.